Hello everyone and welcome back to Game Brigade. I'm your host Bryan, and today we're going to be taking a look at another Kickstarter preview for Perseverance Castaway Chronicles. If you are new to the show, we do reviews, previews, and playthroughs of your favorite games. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. So I wanted to take a look today at another game that I intended to do a few days ago. Unfortunately, I got busy and I couldn't quite get this out on time. But I wanted to make sure I got it before the campaign hit that 10-day mark. So we're going to be taking a look at Perseverance. In fact, let's go ahead and make that transition right now. Okay, so here we have Perseverance Castaway Chronicles by Mindclash Games. We're at 12 days to go left in the campaign. We're at 4,500 backers and just underneath that 500,000 mark. This game, for one, has a difficult name to say. I always hate when games have a hard name to say. So Perseverance, Castaway Chronicles. Hopefully I don't screw it up in the rest of this video, but there's a high chance that I might. So anyways, this game, let's talk about what the game is, and then we'll talk about the pledge levels and then talk about the value there in terms of should we be back in this game or not. So Perseverance, Castaway Chronicles is a story-based game that's a thematic game about a group of people who were on a ship of some sorts who have now crashed on an island or a world. It's kind of, the video is kind of, it says like they're in another dimension or something like that. But basically, dinosaurs are now a part of this, and you can see here it looks like there's some sort of cruise ship that they're on, and they crash on this island or this location with dinosaurs. What I like about this game is that the company basically states that instead of having a journal or cards that you read that influence the story, because that's very common. Most games will have like a log, or you'll pick up a card and read an event card, and that's how the story progresses. That this one is pushing its theme through the actual mechanics of the game. And you'll see that there's two episodes here. So we have episode 1 and episode 2. This game is planning to have at least 4 episodes currently, while this Kickstarter only focusing on the first 2. The first episode, well, let's also say that both episodes are part of a whole picture, and all 4 of them will be part of this entire picture. Each game, though, could be played as a standalone game. So each episode could be a standalone copy, or you could play them all together as a cohesive story. So episode 1 is going to focus on the landing on the island and setting up your community of survivors while also defending from attack from the dinosaurs. Sounds pretty cool. I mean, I like it. In fact, this reminds me of a show. I don't know if anyone remembers the show Terra Nova. Didn't last more than a season. I actually really enjoyed the show. Got canceled pretty quickly. But in that show, a bunch of survivors, or not survivors, actually, they went back in time because current Earth was dying. So they decided, well, let's go back to old Earth that was still alive, but they went back to dinosaur era. And so they had to survive against the dinosaurs. So that's how I see episode 1, is kind of this game where you are trying to survive. I hear it's a much more cutthroat experience in terms of, playing against your opponents in that game. Episode 2 is going to be a little bit further in the future. And in fact, they mentioned that your character models, your player art will show that there's a progression in time. And so in episode 2, your colony is now established, and you're going to be focusing now on exploring the world around you. So you're going to be exploring other regions, and it hints that there might be another civilization out there in the video. It's a really good video. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching. And I'm referring to the main video up here. So you can see here, this example here, they're showing the exploring board. So you're going to be converting to a second board where you're now going to be exploring and finding what is going on with this planet that you're now on. From what I see and what I've read here, the story and the theme really does push through. And I really like that. I'm a very big player on thematics and theme. I need to feel like I'm part of the game board or the board to feel like I'm really enjoying it. It's one of the reasons why some of those lighter games have a hard time hitting with me unless the theme is really interesting. So let's talk about the pledge levels now. So there's 2 pledge levels. We have the standard pledge and the deluxe pledge. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's only one that I would recommend to back, and it's pretty obvious why. So let's talk about the standard pledge. Coming at $95, the pledge level includes the standard episode 1 and 2. You get Chronicle mode and solo mode. Those are all going to be identical to the deluxe pledge, as well as the structure and leader miniatures. Then they're going to have the modular tray system. The modular system will be different in the pledge, in the deluxe pledge, because it's larger, obviously. But they are obviously giving you that modular system. They're also going to be giving you a gift of a neoprene dice tray. I'm going to have so many of these once my Kickstarters finally start arriving at some point, because I feel like I have tons of these coming. And then additional unlocks down below. So at $135, so we're going to be getting pretty much everything the same, but here we have the differences. 64 detailed dino miniatures, 20 metal tracker tokens, 30 custom squishy berry resources, the large side-loading magnetic box, which is this one right here, and the modular tray system, which is also larger because it has to make up for the miniatures. So for the cost that we're talking here, you're going to be getting 64 detailed dino miniatures, 20 metal tokens, and the 30 squishy berry resources. Generally, those are added in the pledge manager. Very rarely do we see those in deluxe pledge, so I'm really happy to see the deluxe pledge actually showing that it's a deluxe pledge, that you're basically getting everything with this game. And the cost of those items is not that significantly higher than the $95 one. I don't suspect that the standard pledge is a good back. If you were to back this game, I would really highly recommend trying to see if you can find a way to get the deluxe pledge. There's more to it, and it's going to have a higher value after this game has completed its cycle. The additional factor here is the limited availability, so let's move on down and talk about that. So this game is going to be limited to retail, and they have a really good layout here of what that means. The standard pledge, the one right here, will be sold on their shop, the pledge manager, Amazon, conventions, and retailers who order it. The deluxe pledge is going to be limited while supplies last. So it sounds like the deluxe pledge is going to be a single production wave, maybe 2, and then they're done. While the standard pledge will be they're continuing the product that they're going to carry on. So that's going to create a scarcity in the deluxe pledge, something that you're going to want to make sure that you have if this is a game that interests you, because this priced one will go up. Okay? And then they talk about why pledge now. And they're talking about the price. They guarantee the price will not be sold lower. I'm curious how they're going to guarantee that. I do know there are some manufacturers that have such a hold, like Asmodee has a very strong hold on stuff like this, where they basically say you cannot advertise lower prices and whatnot. They're also saying if you pledge now, we'll be giving you that free that dice tray, which is awesome. They're also in here, by the way, I forgot to mention, they're giving a hardcover art and chronicle book. Those are generally like $25 by themselves. $25 to $30 by themselves in other Kickstarters. If you're wanting an art book or some sort of detailed book, and they're generally add-ons. They're normally not part of, here's a deluxe pledge. So I really, really like that Mindclash is making this deluxe pledge feel deluxe. Like when you're going to get it, you're going to feel like, yes, this does feel like a deluxeified version of the game. So I really like that. They're going to be talking about unlocked content and some additional stuff. This is going to be unlocked at a backer level. So 4,000. We're almost there, actually. We're there at 3,500 right now. So we're almost at the point where this unlocks. I suspect it will unlock. These 3D sketches, I think, are very poor, and I'd like to see these redesigned. I know this is not final design. I think these are very unexciting, and they're just not exciting for me as a consumer. I'd like to see these updated. So they're going to talk about stretch goals. The stretch goals are not monetarily based. They actually talk about this as a community adventure, as we're going to be unlocking these stretch goals, which is great. And they're going to go through the details here. I'm not going to talk about those. And the add-ons, we can talk about the cost. So they have a language pack. If you are part of Germany, French, or Spanish, that for $5, you can purchase a language pack to convert this game to your said language. I think that's awesome. I think that's a great little feature. The dinosaur miniatures, if you wanted to purchase the dinosaur miniatures alone, so if you're buying the standard pledge, but you want the dinosaur miniatures, it's going to cost you $35. So you can see here, $10, $10. These costs by themselves, I would much rather have the deluxeified version and get all that included, as well as the box to be able to hold all that stuff in. There's really no point in doing these add-ons a la carte, in my opinion. And if you wanted more of these neoprene mounts, they are $10, is what they're claiming. So the game itself is a dice drafting mechanic. And so you're going to be drafting dice, you're going to be placing them in locations. You're trying to gain favor with the people and the specific leaders. And then once you have enough favor, you're going to be able to influence and improve the game. I'm not here to talk about the gameplay mechanics. They actually have down here a lot of gameplay tutorial videos. You even can try playing the digital version if you'd like to play it first. There's a lot of good stuff here. We're going to scroll to the bottom here to cover shipping before we go to the top and give my final thoughts. So the shipping is pretty fair, $20 for US and Canada, $24 Australia, Southeast Asia $30, $45 and $50. This is for the standard pledges. It's a little bit increased here for the deluxe pledge, which I think is the one that I would recommend anyways. $25, $28, $40, $60, and $70. I think for general US, Canada, EU, $25. I think that's very fair. I think that's a very, very good price. I usually see US getting the most discounted price. So being able to see Canada and EU, including UK, Malta, Cyprus, all these places, I think that's great. These guys are really working hard to make sure everyone has very decent priced shipping. Australia, I'm sorry guys, you're a little further down. 28, same thing in Southeast Asia. It's kind of unfortunate, especially Japan. I feel like they could be potentially cheaper, but what can you say? I'm not part of the shipping department. But overall, I think the shipping prices are pretty fair here. So let's skip up to the top and talk about this game. Overall, when we're talking about a game that I'd recommend, I think Perseverance Castaway Chronicles is a game that I'd highly recommend if you enjoy the theme and the mechanics of this game. I still recommend going back and watching some of those gameplay videos and seeing if they follow in line. Let's make my head big real quick. If they fall in line to a game that you might be interested in. But to me, I like the idea of the theme being part of the gameplay rather than something that we have to be reliant on reading cards and being, making us have to break the story to follow it. I think that's really cool. I'm really excited about the way that the game will progress. Sorry for hitting my mic. Will progress through each chapter from chapter 1, 2, and then eventually 3 and 4. I think that's really cool. Overall, I'm also very impressed with Mindclash Games' total way they've done the Kickstarter. This is how a Kickstarter should be ran. It's clear to read. They have very good videos. They found really good content creators to give their views and opinions on how to play the game. Really good how to learn. This is a company that knows how to run a Kickstarter. So I wouldn't feel nervous backing it. They've done very good in their past games. So this is one that I would put my seal of approval on if you're going to ask me. So this is Perseverance Castaway Chronicles. I am giving it my pick of the week so far. I think in terms of everything I've looked at, in terms of what's available on Kickstarter right now, this is the one that I would be going with if I were to back a game right now. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. I'll double check them. If you like this content, give us a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And every time you guys do that, it makes me feel really happy to see that number going up. If you enjoy it and you want to help us grow, subscribe to the content and share it with your friends. I will talk to you guys soon. See you next week.